Have you ever stopped to think about what's really happening when you stream a movie or check your email on the go or collaborate on a document with a coworker? Well, you're using the cloud. We all are, pretty much constantly. And it feels so easy, right? Almost invisible. But here's the thing. It's all built on a massive real-world infrastructure, and that infrastructure comes with some very real-world risks. So today, let's pull back that curtain and really dig into what it takes to secure a world that's, well, basically built on someone else's computer.
All right, so when we talk about the cloud, we're really talking about this double-edged sword. It's a fantastic trade-off, really. On one side, you've got this incredible convenience and power that's totally transformed our lives. But on the other side, there's a catch. And that catch is a whole new universe of security challenges that, honestly, affect every single one of us, from you and me to the biggest corporations out there.
And this isn't just some passing trend. No, it's a massive, fundamental shift in how we do everything. I mean, think about it for a second. Before the cloud, if you wanted to build something big, you had to buy the servers, own the hardware, manage the software, the whole shebang. Now, all that immense computing power is just there, on demand. And that's exactly what's fueled all the services we now can't live without.
Okay, but that convenience we just talked about, it absolutely comes at a price. And this isn't just some theoretical what-if scenario. We are talking about major real-world consequences. Look at this list. Customer credentials stolen from Salesforce, T-Mobile losing huge amounts of data. Heck, even Amazon's own services went down for days, and data was just gone. The point is, when the cloud has a bad day, the fallout is immediate and it can be absolutely devastating.
So what is it that makes the cloud so inherently risky? Why is this so hard? Well, to get to the bottom of that, we have to go back to the most basic idea. At its absolute core, using the cloud means you're just renting. You're renting space and processing power on computers that belong to someone else. And that one simple, fundamental fact, well, it changes absolutely everything.
Okay, let's look at the official definition here from NIST. It's a little wordy, but there's one phrase in there that is the key to this whole thing. Shared pool. Right there. Everything, and I mean everything, boils down to that one little concept. That shared pool of resources is what makes the cloud so powerful and so cheap. But it's also its biggest weakness. By definition, you're sharing the same hardware with tons of other people and companies.
And this slide right here lays out the central bargain. It's the deal you make when you sign up for the cloud. What do you get? Oh, you get some amazing stuff. On-demand services, the ability to scale up or down in an instant, and you only pay for what you use. It's fantastic. But what do you give up? Well, you give up control. You give up direct, hands-on control of the infrastructure. You lose transparency into their security practices. You don't own the hardware. You are, fundamentally, putting your trust in someone else to handle all of that for you. Now, that relationship, that level of trust, it really changes depending on what kind of cloud service you're using. You can think of it like a spectrum. Over on the left, you have what's called Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. This is for the real techies, developers who rent a raw virtual server to build an app. They're still managing a lot of stuff themselves. But then you go all the way to the right to Software as a Service, or SaaS. This is what most of us use every day. Think Gmail, think Dropbox. You don't manage anything. You just log in and use it. So as you move from left to right here, the key takeaway is that you're handing over more and more control and more responsibility to the cloud provider.
And that brings us to a really, really critical concept in cloud security called multi-tenancy. The best way to think about it is like a giant apartment building. You've got hundreds of different tenants all living in the same structure. Everyone's sharing the same foundation, the same plumbing, the same main entrance. In the cloud, it's the same idea. Your data, your applications, they're running on the exact same physical servers as tons of other customers. Sure, you have your own secure virtual apartment, but because you're all sharing that underlying infrastructure, it becomes a huge target and a major source of threats if the landlord, the cloud provider, doesn't manage it perfectly.
Okay, so with all these shared risks and this idea of multi-tenancy, it might sound a bit chaotic. So how in the world do you even start to build a secure system on top of all that? Well, thankfully, it's not just guesswork. Security experts have a structured approach, a framework that we can break down into what they call the 3 pillars of security. And these 3 pillars, together, give you a really comprehensive way to think about it. First up, you have identity security. That one's pretty simple. Who can get in? It's all about controlling access, basically checking IDs at the door. Then you have information security. This is about what people can do
after they get inside. What data can they see? What can they change? And finally, you have infrastructure security. This is about protecting the physical nuts and bolts, the servers, the network gear, the building itself.
All right, now all three of those pillars are absolutely crucial. You can't neglect any of them. But for right now, we're going to zero in on that second one, information security. And why that one? Well, because if identity is about the doors and infrastructure is about the walls, information security is about protecting the actual valuables inside the building, the data itself. And when it comes to protecting that data, it all boils down to three core principles.
And these principles are known in the industry as the CIA triad. No, not that CIA. It stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So confidentiality is about keeping secrets, making sure only the right people see the data. Integrity is about trust, ensuring that the data you're looking at is accurate and hasn't been tampered with. And finally, availability is about access, making sure you can actually get to your data when you need it. The best analogy is a three-legged stool. If you take away any one of those legs, confidentiality, integrity, or availability, the whole thing topples over. You can't just be good at 2 out of 3. For security to work, you need all of them, all the time. So this CIA triad is a great framework that makes a lot of sense, right? But it's all theory. How do we as users actually know if a cloud provider is doing a good job with this stuff? How do they earn our trust? And how is that trust verified in the real world? Well, the answer comes down to a whole bunch of rigorous, independent standards and certifications.
Yeah, this isn't about a company just saying, trust us, we're secure. It's not a pinky promise. It's about providing actual proof. And that's where these standards come in. If you're a company that handles credit card payments, you don't have a choice. You must comply with PCI DSS. If you're dealing with sensitive patient health information, you are legally bound by HIPAA. If you want to work with the US government, you have to meet FISMA standards. See, these aren't just suggestions on a checklist. They are serious, auditable frameworks that force these providers to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are meeting a very high bar for security.
So, when you put it all together, what do we have? It becomes pretty clear that cloud security isn't some product you buy or a switch you just flip on. It's not set it and forget it. It's this constant, complex process. It's a partnership, a shared responsibility. The cloud provider is responsible for securing the foundation, the hardware, the network. But the user, whether that's you or your company, is responsible for what they build on top of it. It's a really delicate dance.
And that brings us to the big final question. As the cloud literally becomes the backbone of our digital lives, it's everything. Who is ultimately on the hook for keeping it safe? Is it the massive billion-dollar company that provides the service? Or is it us, the user, every time we click I agree on a new app? Or is it both? That's really the core question we all have to grapple with as we move forward in this cloud-powered world.